What if the comfortable life you're chasing is actually making you weaker, more anxious, and less fulfilled? In The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, you will discover how modern convenience is quietly destroying your mental and physical strength, and why embracing discomfort is a key to becoming stronger, sharper, and more resilient. If you ever felt stuck, unmotivated, or too comfortable with where you are, this video is for you. Stay till the end, because you'll learn powerful, practical ways to break out of your comfort zone, build real discipline, and transform your life. In the introduction of The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, we are confronted with a powerful and uncomfortable truth. Modern life has become so easy that it's quietly making us weaker. For most of human history, survival required constant movement, struggle, and adaptation. Finding food, facing harsh environments, and overcoming real dangers. But today, with food delivered in minutes, climate-controlled rooms, and endless digital entertainment, we've engineered discomfort out of our lives. At first glance, this seems like progress. But Easter argues that this extreme comfort has created a hidden crisis, one where our bodies and minds no longer face the challenges they were designed for. As a result, we feel restless, anxious, unfulfilled, and often stuck, even though life has never been more convenient. Think about a typical day. You wake up and immediately check your phone, scroll through social media, eat processed food, sit for hours, and avoid anything that feels physically or mentally demanding. There's no real challenge, no friction, no need to push yourself. Now compare that to a scenario where you wake up early, go for a hard run, take a cold shower, and work on something difficult that requires focus. One version is comfortable, but the other builds strength, discipline, and confidence. The problem is that most of us unconsciously choose comfort every time, and over weeks, months, and years, this compounds into a life that feels easy but empty. Easter introduces the idea of an evolutionary mismatch. Our modern environment no longer matches what our bodies and minds evolved to handle. This mismatch explains why we feel stressed despite having fewer real threats, why we struggle with focus despite having more tools, and why we often lack purpose despite having endless opportunities. Imagine a wild animal kept in a zoo. It is safe, fed, and protected, yet it often shows signs of stress and unnatural behavior. In a similar way, humans in ultra-comfortable environments can become mentally and physically out of balance. The introduction challenges you to question whether your lifestyle is truly helping you grow or quietly holding you back. The most important takeaway from this section is not that comfort is bad, but that too much comfort is dangerous. Growth requires resistance. Strength requires struggle. Without challenges, your potential stays dormant. The book invites you to intentionally reintroduce discomfort into your life, not in extreme or reckless ways, but in small, controlled doses that push your limits. This could mean choosing stairs over elevators, exercising when you don't feel like it, having difficult conversations, or working deeply without distractions. These small acts of discomfort train your mind to handle bigger challenges and help you build a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. As you reflect on this idea, ask yourself, when was the last time I did something truly difficult? Am I avoiding challenges because they are uncomfortable? Is my daily routine making me stronger or weaker? What small discomfort can I introduce today that will move me closer to the person I want to become? These questions are not meant to make you feel guilty, but to wake you up to the possibility that a better life lies just outside your comfort zone. Main points. Modern life is overly comfortable, creating a hidden crisis of weakness and dissatisfaction. Humans are designed for challenge, not constant ease. Too much comfort leads to anxiety, lack of purpose, and low resilience. Growth only happens when you step outside your comfort zone. Actionable lessons. Do one uncomfortable thing every day. Exercise, cold shower, focus work. Reduce dependence on easy pleasures like constant phone use. Challenge yourself physically and mentally on a regular basis. Reflect daily. Did I choose comfort or growth today? In the chapter The Evolution Gap from The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, we are introduced to a powerful idea. The life we are living today is completely out of sync with the life our bodies and minds were designed for. For thousands of years, humans evolved in environments that demanded constant effort, walking long distances, hunting for food, facing unpredictable weather, and solving real survival problems. Our ancestors didn't have the option to sit still all day or avoid discomfort. Challenge was built into their daily existence. But in just a few generations, everything has changed. We now live in a world where food is abundant, movement is optional, and discomfort is something we actively try to eliminate. This creates what Easter calls the evolution gap, a mismatch between our ancient biology and our modern lifestyle. To understand this better, imagine giving a professional athlete a life where they never have to train, compete, or push their limits. At first, it might feel like a reward, but over time, their strength, endurance, and skill would decline. Their body would weaken because it is no longer being used the way it was meant to be. The same thing is happening to us. Our bodies expect movement, struggle, and variation, but instead, we give them convenience, repetition, and ease. For example, consider someone who spends 8 to 10 hours sitting at a desk, eats highly processed food, and relaxes by scrolling through a phone. Compare that to someone who walks several kilometers a day, lifts heavy objects, spends time outdoors, and regularly faces physical and mental challenges. The second person is living closer to what humans evolved for, and as a result, they often feel more energized, focused, and resilient. Easter explains that this gap doesn't just affect our physical health, it deeply impacts our mental state as well. Many of the problems we face today, such as anxiety, lack of focus, and constant dissatisfaction, can be traced back to this mismatch. Our brains evolved to deal with real, immediate challenges, not endless notifications, artificial rewards, and constant stimulation. For instance, scrolling through social media provides quick bursts of dopamine without any real effort, which can make real-world tasks feel boring and difficult. Over time, this rewires our brain to avoid effort and seek instant gratification, making it harder to stay disciplined or pursue long-term goals. Think about a simple hypothetical scenario. Two people are given the same goal, improving their health. One chooses the easy route, looking for shortcuts, quick fixes, and minimal effort. The other embraces the discomfort of waking up early, exercising regularly, eating clean, and staying consistent even when it's hard. After a few months, the difference becomes obvious. The second person not only looks better physically, but also feels stronger mentally. They have built confidence, discipline, and resilience, qualities that come only from stepping into discomfort. This is a core message of the evolution gap. The more we align our lives with the challenges we were designed for, the better we function. What makes this idea so powerful is that it gives you control. You don't need to completely change your life or go live in the wilderness. Instead, you can close the evolution gap in small, intentional ways. You can choose to walk instead of always driving, take breaks from screens, engage in physical activity, and expose yourself to controlled discomfort like cold showers or fasting. These actions may seem simple, but they send a signal to your body and mind that you are capable of handling stress and challenge. Over time, this builds a stronger, more adaptable version of you. As you reflect on this chapter, ask yourself, is my daily routine aligned with how humans are meant to live? Am I moving enough, challenging myself enough? Or am I stuck in a cycle of comfort and convenience? When was the last time I felt truly challenged, physically or mentally? What small changes can I make today to close this gap and become stronger? These questions are meant to help you become aware of the choices you make every day and how they shape your life. Main points. The evolution gap is a mismatch between our ancient biology and modern lifestyle. Humans are designed for movement, challenge, and discomfort, not constant ease. Modern convenience leads to physical weakness and mental struggles. Aligning your life with natural challenges improves overall well-being. Actionable lessons. Increase daily movement. Walk more, sit less, and stay physically active. Reduce reliance on instant gratification like excessive phone use. Introduce small discomforts such as exercise, cold exposure, or fasting. Build habits that require effort and consistency rather than shortcuts. Reflect daily. Am I living in comfort, or am I growing through challenge? In the chapter The Power of Discomfort from the Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, the core idea is simple but deeply transformative. Everything you want, strength, confidence, discipline, clarity, lives on the other side of discomfort. Easter explains that discomfort is not something to avoid. It is something to use. It is a tool that shapes your body, sharpens your mind, and reveals your true capabilities. The problem is that most of us have been conditioned to run away from anything that feels hard. We choose the easier workout, the shorter path, the distraction instead of deep work, the comfort of staying the same instead of the challenge of growth. But every time we avoid discomfort, we also avoid becoming stronger. To make this idea more real, Think about someone who has never exercised before. The first time they go to the gym, everything feels uncomfortable. The weights feel heavy, their muscles burn, and they feel out of place. It's tempting to quit and return to the comfort of inactivity. But if they push through that initial discomfort and stay consistent, something powerful happens. Their body adapts. The weights that once felt impossible become manageable. Their energy improves, their confidence grows, and they begin to see themselves differently. This same principle applies to every area of life. A student who struggles to focus might find it uncomfortable to sit and study without distractions, but over time, that discomfort builds concentration. A person who fears public speaking may feel intense anxiety before stepping on stage, but by repeatedly facing that fear, they develop confidence and control. Easter emphasizes that discomfort works because it forces adaptation. When you expose yourself to controlled stress, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, your body and mind respond by becoming stronger and more resilient. This is why practices like cold exposure, fasting, intense exercise, or even having difficult conversations can be so powerful. For example, imagine taking a cold shower on a winter morning. Every instinct tells you to avoid it. Your body resists, your mind makes excuses, and you feel the urge to quit. But if you step in anyway, you experience a moment of intense discomfort followed by a surprising sense of control and alertness. You've proven to yourself that you can do hard things. That small victory carries over into the rest of your day, making other challenges feel more manageable. One of the most important insights in this chapter is that discomfort builds not just strength, but identity. Each time you choose discomfort, you are reinforcing the belief that you are someone who takes action, who doesn't quit, and who can handle difficulty. Over time, this shapes your self-image. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who avoids challenges, you begin to see yourself as someone who seeks growth. This shift is incredibly powerful because your actions start to align with this new identity. You no longer need motivation all the time because you've trained yourself to act despite discomfort. However, Easter also makes it clear that the goal is not to suffer endlessly or seek extreme hardship for no reason. The idea is to introduce intentional, meaningful discomfort into your life, challenges that push you just beyond your current limits. For example, you might commit to exercising even when you don't feel like it, working on a difficult skill without checking your phone, waking up earlier than usual, or taking on a project that scares you. These small, consistent acts of discomfort create momentum. Over time, they compound into significant personal growth. As you think about this concept, consider your own life. What are you currently avoiding because it feels uncomfortable? Is there a goal you've been putting off because it requires effort or discipline? Are you choosing short-term comfort at the cost of long-term growth? Imagine what your life would look like if you started leaning into discomfort instead of running from it. What kind of person would you become? What opportunities might open up for you? Main points. Discomfort is a tool for growth, not something to avoid. Strength, confidence, and resilience are built through challenge. Avoiding discomfort leads to stagnation, and missed potential. Repeated exposure to discomfort builds a stronger identity. Actionable lessons. Do one uncomfortable activity daily. Even if it's small, use physical challenges like exercise or cold showers to build discipline. Practice mental discomfort by focusing deeply without distractions. Face fears gradually instead of avoiding them. Reflect daily. Did I choose comfort, or did I choose growth? In the chapter My Soji, the yearly challenge from the Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, we are introduced to a powerful concept borrowed from ancient Japanese tradition, doing one extremely difficult challenge each year that pushes you to your absolute limits. A My Soji is not just a goal or a task. It is an experience so demanding that there's a high chance you might fail. But in attempting it, you discover who you really are. Easter explains that modern life rarely requires us to test our limits in such a way, which is why many people never truly know how strong, resilient, or capable they can be. A My Soji changes it by forcing you into a situation where comfort is no longer an option and growth becomes inevitable. To understand this idea, imagine signing up for something that genuinely scares you. It could be running a marathon with little prior experience, going on a multi-day trek in the mountains, fasting for an extended period, or even taking on a major personal challenge like starting a business or speaking in front of a large audience. The key is that the challenge must feel uncertain and uncomfortable. For example, think about someone who has never run more than a few kilometers deciding to attempt a 42-kilometer marathon. During training, they will face physical pain, self-doubt, and moments where quitting feels like the easiest option. But as they continue, something shifts. They begin to build endurance, not just physically but mentally. By the time race day arrives, they are no longer the same person who started. Whether they succeed or fail, they have expanded their limits. Easter shares his own Mysoji experience of hunting caribou in the harsh wilderness of Alaska, where survival depended on physical endurance, mental toughness, and the ability to endure extreme discomfort. This was not just a physical test, but a psychological one. Being in an unpredictable environment with no modern comforts forced him to confront fear, uncertainty, and exhaustion. The lesson here is not that everyone should go into the wilderness, but that stepping into situations where you are pushed beyond your usual limits creates a level of growth that ordinary routines cannot provide. What makes a Mysoji unique is its intensity and its rarity. It is not something you do every day. It is a once-a-year challenge that stands out as a defining moment. Because it is so demanding, it creates lasting memories and a strong sense of accomplishment. Think about the difference between completing a routine daily task and achieving something that once seemed impossible. The latter stays with you. It becomes a reference point in your life, a reminder that you are capable of more than you thought. For instance, someone who completes a difficult trek in extreme conditions will likely approach future challenges with more confidence, knowing they have already faced something harder. You can apply this concept in your own life by choosing a yearly challenge that aligns with your fears and goals. It doesn't have to be extreme in a dangerous way, but it should push you out of your comfort zone. It could be learning a new skill at an advanced level, committing to a physically demanding event, or taking on a project that requires sustained effort and discipline. The important part is that it feels significant and slightly intimidating. During the process, you will face resistance. Your mind will try to convince you to quit, to take the easier path, to stay comfortable. But by continuing despite that resistance, you train yourself to handle difficulty and uncertainty. As you reflect on this idea, ask yourself, when was the last time I did something that truly tested my limits? Am I living in a way that challenges me, or am I staying within what feels safe and predictable? What is one big challenge I can commit to this year that would push me beyond my current capabilities? How would completing such a challenge change the way I see myself? These questions are meant to help you identify opportunities for growth that you might otherwise ignore. Main points. A Mysoji is a once-a-year, extremely difficult challenge that pushes your limits. It is designed to test your physical, mental, and emotional strength. The goal is not guaranteed success, but growth through the attempt. Such challenges create lasting confidence and reshape your identity. Actionable lessons. Choose one major challenge each year that feels difficult and uncertain. Focus on the process and growth, not just the outcome. Break the challenge into smaller steps to stay consistent. Embrace failure as part of the learning experience. Reflect after completing the challenge. What did I learn about myself? In the chapter The Alaskan Adventure from the Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, the abstract idea of embracing discomfort becomes real, raw, and impossible to ignore. Easter doesn't just talk about challenge. He lives it by stepping into one of the harshest environments imaginable, the Alaskan wilderness. Far away from modern comforts, there is no easy food, no warm bed, no instant entertainment, and no escape from nature's unpredictability. Every day becomes a test of endurance, patience, and mental strength. Through this experience, Easter demonstrates what happens when you strip life down to its essentials and force yourself to operate in conditions that demand effort and resilience. Imagine waking up in freezing temperatures, your body stiff and exhausted, knowing that the day ahead will require hours of walking through rough terrain, carrying heavy gear, and facing the constant uncertainty of whether you will succeed in your mission. There are moments of hunger, discomfort, and doubt. There is no quick relief, no shortcut, no way to opt out and return to comfort. In such an environment, even simple tasks become difficult, and you are forced to confront your limits. But something powerful begins to happen in these conditions. Your focus sharpens. You become more aware of your surroundings. You start to appreciate small things, warmth, food, rest, in a way that modern life rarely allows. The absence of comfort creates a deeper sense of presence and gratitude. Easter's experience highlights a key truth. When you remove distractions and conveniences, you reconnect with a more primal and capable version of yourself. For example, think about how often you feel bored or restless in everyday life, even when you have endless entertainment available. Now compare that to a situation where your survival or success depends on your attention and effort. In the wilderness, boredom disappears because every moment matters. This shift reveals how much of our modern dissatisfaction comes not from lack, but from excess, too much comfort, too much stimulation, and too little meaningful challenge. A relatable way to understand this is to imagine going on a multi-day trek with limited supplies and no access to technology. At first, it feels uncomfortable and even overwhelming. You might miss your usual conveniences, your phone, or your routine. But as the days pass, you begin to adapt. Your body adjusts to the physical demands. Your mind becomes calmer, and you start to find satisfaction in simple progress, walking a few more kilometers, setting up camp, or completing a difficult climb. By the end of the experience, you don't just feel relief that it's over. You feel a sense of accomplishment and clarity that is hard to achieve in everyday life. The lesson from the Alaskan adventure is not that you need to travel to extreme environments to grow, but that you need to intentionally create situations in your life where you are challenged, uncomfortable, and fully engaged. This could mean taking on physically demanding activities like hiking, camping, or endurance training. It could also mean disconnecting from technology for a period of time, simplifying your routine, or putting yourself in situations where you must rely on your own effort and discipline. These experiences help you break free from the constant noise and comfort of modern life and reconnect with what truly matters. As you reflect on this chapter, consider your own lifestyle. When was the last time you experienced real discomfort that required you to adapt and grow? Are you constantly surrounded by convenience and distraction? What would happen if you removed some of those comforts, even temporarily? How would it change your focus, your mindset, and your appreciation for everyday things? What is one challenge you can introduce into your life that forces you to step out of your routine and test your limits? Main points. Extreme environments reveal your true physical and mental capabilities. Removing comfort increases focus, awareness, and appreciation. Modern life often creates dissatisfaction through excess. Not lack. Challenging experiences lead to clarity, confidence, and growth. Actionable lessons. Introduce controlled challenges like hiking, camping, or endurance activities. Take breaks from technology to reduce distraction and improve focus. Simplify your environment to appreciate basic needs and essentials. Push yourself into situations where effort and discipline are required. Reflect after challenges. What did I learn about my limits and my mindset? In the chapter Mental Toughness and Discipline from The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, the focus shifts from physical hardship to the inner game, the ability to stay consistent, focused, and resilient even when you don't feel like it. Easter argues that mental toughness is not something you are born with. It is built through repeated exposure to discomfort and the decision to act despite resistance. Discipline, in this sense, is not about motivation or bursts of inspiration. It is about doing what needs to be done, especially when it is inconvenient, boring, or difficult. In a world designed to make everything easy, the ability to choose effort over comfort becomes a rare and powerful skill. Think about a simple but relatable situation. You set an alarm early in the morning with the intention of working out or studying. When the alarm rings, your mind immediately starts negotiating. It tells you that you are tired, that one more hour of sleep won't hurt, that you can start tomorrow. In that moment, there's a battle between comfort and discipline. Most people lose that battle because comfort feels good in the short term. But those who consistently choose to get up, despite the discomfort, begin to build mental toughness. Over time, it becomes less about forcing yourself and more about who you are. You become someone who follows through. Easter explains that mental toughness is like a muscle. It grows when you use it and weakens when you avoid challenge. For example, consider two individuals facing the same difficult task, such as preparing for an important exam or completing a demanding project. One person constantly avoids the work, distracts themselves, and waits for the right mood. The other sits down and works even when they don't feel ready. The second person experiences discomfort, boredom, frustration, mental fatigue, but by pushing through, they train their mind to handle difficulty. Eventually, they develop the ability to focus for longer periods and perform under pressure, while the first person remains stuck in a cycle of avoidance. Another powerful aspect of discipline is a compounding effect. Small actions, repeated daily, create massive results over time. Imagine someone who commits to just 1 hour of focused work every day without distractions. At first, it feels difficult and unnatural, but after a few weeks, their concentration improves. After a few months, they have completed work that others keep postponing. This is how discipline transforms lives, not through dramatic changes, but through consistent, uncomfortable effort. The same applies to physical fitness, skill development, or any meaningful goal. Easter also highlights that mental toughness is built by choosing discomfort intentionally, not waiting for life to force it upon you. This could mean finishing a task when you feel like quitting, resisting the urge to check your phone while working, or continuing a workout when your body feels tired. Each of these moments is an opportunity to strengthen your mind. For instance, imagine you are working on an important project and feel the urge to open social media. Instead of giving in, you decide to continue working for another 30 minutes. That small act of resistance strengthens your discipline and builds confidence in your ability to control your actions. To apply this in your own life, start by identifying areas where you tend to avoid discomfort. It could be procrastination, lack of consistency, or difficulty staying focused. Then, create simple rules for yourself. For example, you might decide to work for a fixed amount of time without distractions, exercise a certain number of days per week, or complete tasks even when you don't feel motivated. The goal is not perfection, but consistency. Over time, these actions reshape your mindset and make discipline a natural part of your behavior. As you reflect on this chapter, ask yourself, do I rely on motivation, or do I act regardless of how I feel? What is one area of my life where I lack discipline? How often do I give into short-term comfort instead of long-term growth? What small habit can I start today that will strengthen my mental toughness? And most importantly, who do I want to become? A person who avoids difficulty or one who rises to meet it? Main points. Mental toughness is built through repeated exposure to discomfort. Discipline is about action, not motivation. Avoiding difficulty weakens your ability to handle challenges. Consistent effort leads to long-term growth and success. Actionable lessons. Act even when you don't feel motivated. Build daily habits that require effort and consistency. Limit distractions and practice deep focus. Push through small moments of resistance instead of giving in. Reflect daily. Did I choose discipline or did I choose comfort? In the chapter The Role of Physical Hardship from the Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, the focus returns to the body as a gateway to transforming the mind. Easter argues that physical hardship is not just about fitness or appearance. It is one of the most powerful ways to build resilience, clarity, and emotional stability. Our bodies were designed to move, strain, and adapt, yet modern life has reduced physical effort to almost nothing. We sit for hours, avoid exertion, and choose convenience at every step. The result is not only weaker bodies, but also restless minds, lower energy, and reduced capacity to handle stress. Physical hardship, in this sense, becomes a form of training not just for the body, but for life itself. To understand this, imagine two different lifestyles. In the first, a person spends most of their day sitting, rarely exercises, and avoids anything physically demanding. In the second, a person regularly engages in challenging physical activity, running, lifting, hiking, or even manual labor. At the end of the day, the first person may feel tired, but it is a dull, unproductive fatigue. The second person, despite having worked harder, often feels more energized, accomplished, and mentally clear. This is because physical hardship triggers adaptation. It strengthens muscles, improves endurance, and releases chemicals in the brain that enhance mood and focus. More importantly, it teaches you how to endure discomfort and keep going. Easter highlights that physical challenges have a direct impact on mental health. For example, think about a time when you pushed yourself through a difficult workout. In the moment, your body resisted, your breathing became heavy, and your muscles burned. But once it was over, you likely felt a sense of relief, confidence, and even pride. That feeling is not accidental. It is a result of overcoming resistance. Now compare that to a day spent entirely in comfort, scrolling, sitting, and avoiding effort. While it may feel easy in the moment, it often leads to a sense of dissatisfaction or restlessness. This contrast shows how physical hardship provides a natural and healthy way to regulate stress and improve emotional well-being. Consider a hypothetical scenario where someone decides to take on a simple challenge, walking 10,000 steps every day or committing to a daily workout routine. At first, it feels inconvenient and tiring. There are excuses, lack of time, low energy, or discomfort. But after a few weeks, something changes. Their body adapts, their stamina increases, and their mind becomes more disciplined. They start to feel more in control of their actions and less dependent on mood or motivation. This is the power of physical hardship. It creates a feedback loop where effort leads to improvement, and improvement motivates further effort. Easter also points out that physical hardship reconnects us with a more natural way of living. Activities like hiking, carrying weight, or exercising outdoors not only challenge the body, but also bring a sense of grounding and presence. In a world filled with artificial stimulation and constant distraction, these experiences help you reconnect with reality. For instance, imagine spending a day trekking in nature, carrying your own supplies, and relying on your strength to move forward. There are no notifications, no shortcuts, and no instant gratification. Just effort, progress, and the satisfaction of moving step by step. Such experiences can reset your perspective and remind you of what you are capable of. To apply this in your own life, you don't need extreme conditions. Start with manageable but challenging activities. This could be regular exercise, choosing to walk instead of taking a vehicle, lifting weights, or engaging in physically demanding hobbies. The key is consistency and intensity. You should feel some level of discomfort, but it should be controlled and purposeful. Over time, these actions will not only improve your physical health, but also strengthen your mental resilience and discipline. As you reflect on this chapter, ask yourself, am I using my body the way it was designed to be used? How often do I avoid physical effort because it feels uncomfortable? What would change in my life if I committed to regular physical challenges? How would improving my physical strength impact my confidence and mindset? What is one physical activity I can start today that pushes me slightly beyond my comfort zone? Main points. Physical hardship strengthens both the body and the mind. Modern sedentary lifestyles lead to weakness and dissatisfaction. Challenging the body improves mental health, focus, and resilience. Effort and adaptation create a cycle of growth and confidence. Actionable lessons. Incorporate regular physical activity into your daily routine. Choose activities that challenge your limits. Not just comfort. Replace convenience with effort when possible, such as walking more. Use physical hardship as a tool to build discipline and resilience. Reflect daily. Did I push my body today, or did I avoid effort? In the chapter Reconnecting with Nature from The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, the central idea is that modern humans are becoming increasingly disconnected from the natural world, and this separation is quietly affecting our mental clarity, emotional balance, and overall well-being. Easter explains that for most of human history, humans lived deeply connected to nature, moving through forests, mountains, rivers, and open landscapes, constantly interacting with changing environments. But today, most people spend their lives indoors, surrounded by screens, artificial lighting, and controlled environments. This shift has removed us from the conditions we evolved in, and as a result, many of us feel mentally drained, overstimulated, and disconnected from a deeper sense of peace. To understand this better, imagine two completely different lifestyles. In the first, a person wakes up, immediately checks their phone, sits in traffic, works under artificial lights for hours, eats processed food indoors, and ends a day by watching screens until sleep. In the second, a person spends time outdoors each day, walking in natural light, breathing fresh air, observing trees, rivers, or open skies, and engaging in physical movement in natural surroundings. Even if both individuals face stress in their lives, their experiences of stress are very different. The second person often feels more grounded, calm, and mentally clear, while the first may feel overwhelmed, restless, and mentally fatigued. This contrast highlights how deeply nature influences the human nervous system. Easter emphasizes that nature is not just a peaceful escape, it is a biological necessity. Our brains and bodies are wired to respond positively to natural environments. For example, think about a time you might have gone for a walk in a park, visited a hillside, or spent time near water. Even if you were previously stressed or anxious, there's a good chance you felt a sense of relief or calm afterward. This is not just psychological, it is physiological. Exposure to natural environments reduces stress hormones, improves focus, and restores mental energy. Now compare that to spending the same amount of time indoors scrolling through social media or working under pressure without breaks. The difference in mental state is significant. Consider a hypothetical scenario. Someone who feels constantly overwhelmed by work and daily responsibilities decides to take a break by going on a short hiking trip or spending a few hours in a nearby natural setting. At first, their mind may still be racing with thoughts about unfinished tasks and deadlines. But as they continue walking, observing their surroundings, and disconnecting from digital distractions, their thoughts begin to slow down. Their breathing becomes more steady, their mind becomes clearer, and their perspective shifts. Problems that once felt overwhelming start to feel more manageable. This simple act of reconnecting with nature creates space for mental reset and emotional balance. Easter also points out that nature helps restore attention. In modern life, our attention is constantly fragmented by notifications, messages, and digital stimulation. But in natural environments, attention is naturally engaged in a softer, more restorative way. For instance, watching waves move, observing trees sway in the wind, or listening to birds creates a calming focus that does not drain mental energy. This type of attention helps the brain recover from constant overstimulation, improving concentration, and reducing mental fatigue over time. To apply this idea in your own life, you don't need to escape to the wilderness or make drastic changes. Even small, consistent actions can create meaningful benefits. You can take daily walks outside, spend time in nearby parks, reduce unnecessary screen time, or simply step outside for fresh air during stressful moments. The key is intentional exposure to natural environments. Over time, these small habits can significantly improve your mood, clarity, and emotional resilience. As you reflect on this chapter, ask yourself, how much of my daily life is spent indoors versus outdoors? When was the last time I spent time in nature without distractions? How does my mood change when I'm outside compared to when I'm indoors? Am I giving my mind enough time to rest from constant digital stimulation? What is one simple way I can reconnect with nature starting today? Main points. Humans are biologically designed to live in connection with nature. Modern indoor, digital lifestyles increase stress and mental fatigue. Nature helps reduce stress, restore focus, and improve emotional balance. Even small exposure to natural environments has significant benefits. Actionable lessons. Spend at least a few minutes outdoors every day. Take walks in parks, green spaces, or natural surroundings. Regularly reduce screen time and replace it with outdoor time when possible. Use nature as a tool for mental reset during stress. Reflect daily. Did I connect with nature today, or stay disconnected indoors? In the chapter The Problem with Instant Gratification, from The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, the central warning is that modern life has been engineered to give us everything instantly, and while this feels rewarding in the short term, it is quietly weakening our ability to focus, endure discomfort, and pursue meaningful long-term goals. Easter explains that human beings evolved in environments where rewards were delayed and uncertain. Finding food, achieving success, or even surviving required patience, effort, and persistence. But today, almost every form of reward has been compressed into seconds. With a few taps on a phone, we can access entertainment, food, social validation, and information instantly. This constant stream of easy rewards is reshaping the brain in ways that make real-life effort feel harder and less satisfying. To understand this, imagine two different patterns of living. In the first, a person constantly seeks quick pleasure, scrolling social media, watching short videos, eating junk food, and avoiding anything that requires sustained effort. Every time they feel boredom or discomfort, they escape into instant stimulation. In the second scenario, a person delays gratification. They choose to work on long-term goals, read, exercise, build skills, and resist unnecessary distractions. At first, the second lifestyle feels more difficult because the rewards are not immediate. But over time, something powerful happens. The second person begins to experience deeper satisfaction, stronger discipline, and more meaningful progress in life, while the first person feels increasingly restless, distracted, and unfulfilled despite constant stimulation. Easter highlights that instant gratification is not just a habit problem. It is a neurological shift. The brain learns to expect quick rewards, and as a result, activities that require patience, like studying, building career, or improving fitness, start to feel boring or even painful. For example, think about someone who is used to watching short-form videos all day. When they try to sit down and read a book or focus on a long task, they feel discomfort almost immediately. Their mind looks for escape, not because the task is impossible, but because their brain has been conditioned to avoid slow rewards. Now compare that to someone who regularly practices focus, reading, working without distractions, and completing challenging tasks. That person has trained their mind to tolerate boredom and delayed gratification, which gives them a major advantage in almost every area of life. Consider a hypothetical scenario. Two students preparing for an important exam. One student studies in short bursts, constantly checking their phone, taking frequent breaks, and relying on last-minute cramming. The other student commits to focused study sessions, avoids distractions, and builds understanding gradually over time. The first student may feel temporary relief from frequent breaks, but their long-term results are weak and inconsistent. The second student experiences discomfort in the beginning, resisting distractions, sitting through boredom, but over time, their knowledge becomes stronger, their confidence increases, and their performance improves significantly. This difference is a direct result of how each person handles instant gratification versus delayed reward. Easter also explains that modern technology amplifies this problem. Social media platforms, video apps, and online entertainment systems are designed to keep us engaged through constant novelty and quick rewards. This creates a cycle where attention becomes fragmented, patience decreases, and the ability to focus deeply weakens. For instance, someone might intend to work on an important project but ends up switching between apps, messages, and videos, never fully engaging with the task. Over time, this pattern reduces productivity and increases feelings of frustration and stagnation. However, the solution is not to reject modern life, but to regain control over attention and reward systems. You can start by intentionally delaying gratification in small ways. This might mean waiting before checking your phone in the morning, completing a task before taking a break, or setting specific times for entertainment rather than consuming it impulsively. You can also practice focusing on one task for longer periods, even when it feels uncomfortable. These small acts of resistance gradually rebuild your ability to focus, work deeply, and pursue long-term goals with consistency. As you reflect on this chapter, ask yourself, how often do I choose short-term pleasure over long-term progress? Do I find it difficult to focus on tasks that do not give immediate rewards? How has my use of technology affected my patience and attention span? What areas of my life are being affected by my need for instant gratification? What is one habit I can change today to regain control over my focus and discipline? Main points. Modern life is dominated by instant rewards that weaken patience and focus. The brain adapts to quick stimulation, making long-term effort feel difficult. Instant gratification reduces discipline, attention span, and satisfaction. Delayed gratification leads to stronger results and deeper fulfillment. Actionable lessons. Delay small pleasures, such as checking your phone or social media. Focus on completing tasks before taking breaks or rewards. Practice deep work sessions without distractions. Reduce exposure to constant digital stimulation. Reflect daily. Did I choose instant pleasure or long-term growth? In the chapter Building a Better Life Through Discomfort from the Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, the central message is that a meaningful, strong, and fulfilling life is not built by avoiding discomfort, but by intentionally choosing it in small, consistent, and controlled ways. Easter explains that modern society constantly pushes us toward ease, easy food, easy entertainment, easy comfort, and easy routines. But this ease often comes at the cost of growth, resilience, and long-term happiness. When life becomes too comfortable, we don't become more satisfied. Instead, we often feel stuck, unmotivated, and disconnected. The paradox is that discomfort, when used correctly, becomes a foundation for a better life. To understand this, imagine two different lifestyles. In the first, a person avoids anything that feels difficult. They skip workouts when tired, delay important tasks, choose entertainment over learning, and avoid challenging conversations. Life feels easy in the moment, but over time, it becomes repetitive and unfulfilling. In the second lifestyle, a person deliberately chooses small moments of discomfort every day. They wake up early even when it's hard, exercise even when they don't feel like it, focus deeply on work without distractions, and take on challenges that require effort. This person does not always feel comfortable in the moment, but over time, they develop confidence, discipline, and a strong sense of progress. Their life feels more meaningful because they are constantly growing rather than stagnating. Easter emphasizes that discomfort is not punishment, it is training. Just like muscles grow when they are stressed and recovered, the mind and character grow when they are challenged and pushed beyond their current limits. For example, think about someone trying to improve their health. The comfortable choice is to continue old habits, avoid exercise, and rely on convenience. But the uncomfortable choice is to start working out, change diet habits, and stay consistent even when motivation is low. In the beginning, the process feels difficult and even frustrating. However, after weeks or months, the body becomes stronger, energy levels improve, and confidence increases. This transformation does not come from comfort. It comes from repeated exposure to discomfort. Consider another real-life scenario, a person trying to build a career or skill. At first, learning something new feels overwhelming. There's confusion, frustration, and the temptation to quit. Many people stop here because they want immediate comfort. But those who continue through this phase gradually begin to understand the skill, gain competence, and eventually reach mastery. The discomfort they initially avoided was actually the exact condition required for growth. Without it, progress would not be possible. Easter also highlights that discomfort builds identity. Every time you choose effort over ease, you reinforce a version of yourself that is stronger, more disciplined, and more capable. For instance, imagine someone who consistently wakes up early, works on their goals, and completes difficult tasks even when they don't feel like it. Over time, this person stops seeing themselves as someone who struggles with discipline and starts seeing themselves as someone who follows through. This shift in identity is powerful because it influences future behavior automatically. You no longer need to force discipline. It becomes part of who you are. Importantly, Easter does not suggest living in constant suffering or seeking extreme hardship. Instead, he encourages controlled, meaningful discomfort that stretches your abilities without breaking you. This could mean pushing through a tough workday, staying focused during a long study session, having a difficult but necessary conversation, or committing to a goal that requires persistence. The key is consistency. Small discomfort, repeated daily, build a life that feels strong and purposeful over time. As you reflect on this idea, think deeply about your current habits. Are you choosing comfort in the moment, but sacrificing growth in the long term? What areas of your life feel stagnant or unchanging? When was the last time you willingly did something difficult that improved your life? What would happen if you started embracing discomfort instead of avoiding it? And most importantly, what version of yourself could you become if you consistently chose growth over ease? Main points. A better life is built by choosing discomfort. Not avoiding it. Comfort leads to stagnation, while discomfort leads to growth. Discomfort is a form of training for both mind and body. Repeated effort shapes identity and long-term success. Actionable lessons. Intentionally do small, uncomfortable actions daily. Choose effort-based habits over convenience-based habits. Stay consistent even when motivation is low. Use discomfort as a signal of growth, not failure. Reflect daily. Did I choose ease today, or did I choose growth? In the final lessons and takeaways section of The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, all the core ideas of the book come together into one powerful realization. Modern life has become dangerously comfortable, and this comfort is slowly disconnecting us from strength, purpose, and fulfillment. Easter reminds us that throughout human history, growth was never found in ease. It was always found in struggle, uncertainty, and effort. But in today's world, we have engineered struggle out of our daily existence. We no longer need to hunt, build, or survive in the traditional sense. And while this has made life safer, it has also removed many of the natural challenges that once shaped strong, resilient human beings. As a result, many people now experience a strange contradiction. Life is easier than ever, yet mental stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction are at record levels. To make this idea real, imagine two versions of a life. In the first, a person avoids discomfort at every step. They wake up late, rely heavily on convenience, avoid difficult tasks, escape challenges through entertainment, and choose short-term comfort over long-term effort. On the surface, their life feels easy, but internally they feel stuck, unmotivated, and unsure of their direction. In the second version, a person intentionally designs their life around growth. They wake up early, exercise even when they don't feel like it, focus deeply on meaningful work, take responsibility for their goals, and regularly step outside their comfort zone. Their life is not always easy, but it feels purposeful, structured, and meaningful. Over time, this second person develops something far more valuable than comfort: resilience, confidence, and a strong sense of identity. Easter emphasizes that the key lesson of the entire book is not to reject comfort completely, but to control it. Comfort is not the enemy. Overuse of comfort is. A life with zero comfort would be unsustainable, but a life with no discomfort leads to stagnation. The goal is balance, where discomfort is intentionally added in ways that promote growth. For example, think about someone who decides to make small but consistent changes in their life. They start exercising regularly, reduce unnecessary screen time, commit to learning a new skill, and challenge themselves to stay disciplined in areas where they previously gave in to ease. At first, these changes feel uncomfortable and even frustrating. But after weeks and months, these same actions begin to transform their energy, confidence, and outlook on life. One of the most powerful ideas in this section is that discomfort compounds. Just like small financial investments grow over time, small acts of discipline and struggle also accumulate into major life changes. A person who consistently chooses effort over ease may not see instant results, but over time, they build a life that feels stronger in every dimension, physically, mentally, and emotionally. For instance, someone who commits to daily exercise may initially struggle with fatigue and motivation, but months later, they notice increased energy, better focus, and improved self-confidence. Similarly, someone who commits to deep work without distractions may initially feel bored or restless, but eventually develops exceptional focus and productivity that sets them apart. Easter also highlights that the most important shift is internal. The goal is not just to change what you do, but to change who you believe you are. Each time you choose discomfort, you send a message to yourself. I am someone who can handle difficulty. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who grows through challenge. Over time, these repeated actions reshape identity. This is why people who consistently face discomfort begin to naturally make better decisions, not because they force themselves, but because they have become the kind of person who values growth over ease. To apply these lessons in real life, you do not need extreme changes. You need consistent, intentional discomfort. This could mean waking up earlier than usual, finishing tasks you usually postpone, exercising when you feel tired, having honest conversations you've been avoiding, or committing to long-term goals without seeking shortcuts. The power lies in repetition. Small decisions, made daily, create a completely different life trajectory over time. As you reflect on the final lessons of this book, ask yourself, am I building a life that prioritizes comfort or growth? Where in my life am I choosing ease over effort? What habits are quietly keeping me stuck in the same place? If I continue my current lifestyle for the next 5 years, where will I end up? And most importantly, what is one uncomfortable action I can start today that will move me toward a stronger, more purposeful life? Main points. Modern life is overly comfortable. Leading to hidden dissatisfaction growth comes from intentional, controlled discomfort. Small habits of discipline compound into major life transformation. Identity is shaped by repeated choices between comfort and effort. Actionable lessons. Introduce small daily discomforts, exercise, focus, discipline. Replace avoidance habits with effort-based actions. Focus on long-term growth instead of short-term ease. Build identity through consistent discipline. Behavior reflect daily. Did I choose comfort, or did I choose growth? In the end, The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter teaches us that true strength, clarity, and fulfillment are not found in comfort, but in choosing discomfort, embracing challenge, and pushing beyond our limits. The key message is simple. Modern comfort is making us weaker, but intentional struggle can make us stronger, more focused, and more resilient in every area of life. If you take anything from this audiobook, remember this: growth always begins where comfort ends. If you found value in this summary, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Visual Books, and turn on notifications for more powerful book summaries that can change your mindset and your life. Also comment below what lesson impacted you the most and what challenge you are going to take on starting today.